Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, everyone. And welcome to Monique and Sydney's Open Relationship. I am Monique.
And I'm Sydney.
And we get ready to get this thing started. How you doing, Daddy?
Super fantastic. How about yourself?
I am doing fantastic and super.
There it is.
You ready to get it?
Get it.
Y'all ready to get it? We ready to get it. Okay, so the title of today's show and today's conversation is, and before I even say the title, it's one of honesty. You have got to be honest with yourself right now during this show. Because y'all know sometimes we go to fantasy and we don't really want to deal with ourselves truthfully. So I had to put that out there, Daddy, because it's one of them shows. So the title of the show is...
Because the shows prior to this, we didn't want you to be honest with yourself.
Oh, Daddy. I did.
Okay.
All of them.
Definitely.
Okay?
Yes.
So the title of the show is, do you push people away with your attitude?
And we waiting for one answer.
Right, baby, okay? Do you push people away with your attitude? Are you that person that just based off of your attitude and what you put out, you find that people really don't want to deal with you? Are you that person? Because there have been times in my life that my attitude has been different. And based on my attitude, I could have easily pushed folks away. Just based off of either not being able to deal with me, not being able to deal with the situation. So it would reflect in my attitude. And there are times now, not too often, but I can still be challenged with it, that if I am dealing with something, Sid can see immediately in my attitude. Immediately. And he'll say, what you say?
What's wrong?
Yeah. He'll say, Mama, what's wrong? And I go, nothing. And then he'll say,
something wrong.
And then we got to play back and forth for about 15, 20 minutes. Now, it used to take me a few days, right? In the beginning.
It could.
Right. I mean,
but see, in the beginning of our relationship as a couple, whereas it didn't take as long when it may be something outside of the relationship when we weren't a couple, and then you could say, oh, that nigga Mark, that nigga Cap, that nigga that done did this, that, and so forth and so on. And then we could get to the matter. But when it's you or something may have transpired, and sometimes not, it would be a challenge. As I'm sure everyone in their life to some degree has had that experience. I myself have had that experience, primarily as a kid. But
I was going to say, when?
You know, you have it enough as a kid. You make some changes when you become an adult.
Yeah. We're asking a question today, y'all. Do you push people away with your attitude? And it's I think too, sometimes you may not even realize it because you've been so comfortable in doing it and so used to doing it, it's almost become second nature. Melanie Camacho does this joke, and the first time I heard it, I hollered. She said, I was in a club, and this guy came over to me and said, I wanted to come over and talk to you, but you had a look on your face that said, don't fuck with me. And she said, well, I guess it's not working. Mm-hmm. Right? That shit made me holler, but there's a lot of us like that. And I go back to, because doing the different comedy clubs and you're up close on people, right? And there'll be some people right in the front, and you like this. Now I'm only dealing with it for about 5-10 minutes. Then I'm going to address it. But you're sitting like this. So did you come out to have a bad time? Like, are you so comfortable in your space of, and I don't want to say misery because it may not be. Are you just comfortable in that space of almost, I don't want to be bothered? And it comes out And once you address it, then you find people will relax into it. They'll relax. But it's so many of us walking around like that where without saying anything, people say that's okay.
People will say that's okay. So, are you that type of person that you push people away with your attitude? And if you are and you acknowledge that, what are the reasons that you do it?
Well, I think for me, when I did it, when I would do it, we're going to go to the lines and talk on it. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
Hi, this is Troy. I was on your live I think a few weeks ago.
Hey, Troy.
I had to call back on this one because, this actually, I was talking to my grandfather last, 2 days, something to me, because I go to work and I get tired and it says, you know what, do your job cheerfully. Because you never know who you're going to run into, and you never know whose life you're going to affect.
Mm-hmm.
And that mainly pertains to my attitude. Because I usually am like, I don't feel like doing this today. And you know what? I realize the moment I have that type of attitude, the slower my day would be. The time I'll be positive, things get done quick. I won't have to worry about everything. Things will get done. I won't have no worries.
That's a
So
good
I realized I just put myself on the front street. I used to be a negative person. My attitude was negative. Everything was just no, no, no. But as soon as I let myself go and said, let things be, I started seeing things open up for me. Blessings open up for me. That's why I'm so grateful for y'all. People go, oh, well, they not doing, no. I want to give you guys props because you know what? A lot of people, they wouldn't do what y'all doing. Y'all standing up. Y'all doing what y'all need to do for yourselves. And I'm really proud of y'all.
We appreciate that.
Look at y'all as if my second parents. I really do appreciate y'all. Y'all just don't know that. I really do.
Let me ask you a question, because you out here helping people and you don't even realize by what you're saying. What was it that you attribute to having a negative attitude before you made that conscious change?
Well, I will be honest with you. Back in 2009, my family, my whole family, we went through like a depression, and we had a lot of deaths and going on, and I just kind of carried that for a while and didn't know how to get out that funk. But out of nowhere, when I talked to one of my friends, and they're like, man, you too negative. All you do is just sit up in that room, you go to work, you go to school, you come home, you go to work, go to school, come home. Something has changed. Because if you're in the same pattern, you're going to get stuck into a same lane. And as time goes by, you're going to wonder, why is everybody else progressing? And you're just sitting there just doing, and things just not prevailing for you. And I had to realize, I think that, like, wow. I can't live like this. I gotta get rid of this negative attitude. This negative attitude is not going to get me anywhere.
And as you're saying that, and just so you know, as you're saying that, NEME, just put down, oh my God, that's me too. So when you say you're going to put yourself on Front Street, what you are really doing is showing other people how to confront themselves and their issues so they can be better as people too. Because what you also did that is very difficult for individuals to do is you listen to the ones who loved you enough to tell you the truth. And that speaks to your character. I appreciate you, my brother.
I appreciate y'all. Y'all just don't know. You really don't. I think people, you got folks, oh, you see all these people, and then y'all say, yeah, we appreciate you. But really, no, real seriously, sincerely, I really appreciate both of y'all, Sydney Hicks and Monique Hicks. I appreciate y'all for the many things y'all have done. Y'all just don't realize. I see y'all when y'all go. Okay. When y'all do, y'all have these podcasts, y'all talk about real stuff. Some of this stuff I don't really talk to nobody about because some people, can't really discuss everything because they get defensive. But y'all really talk about some real serious stuff, and I didn't really think about it until thank y'all. I appreciate y'all seriously. I really do.
We appreciate you back, brother.
We love you, Troy.
Thank you.
I love you. I love both of y'all. You just don't know. You just don't know.
Keep pushing, baby.
Keep pushing.
I will.
Oh. This is why Look, remember when David had to do this? Mm. This is why we have this show. And this is why we keep pushing and going for beautiful young men just like that. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you calling from?
Hey, Auntie and Uncle, this is Ezra.
Hey,
Hey.
sweet.
I like this topic today. I like it. Do I push people away with my attitude? And my answer, as I just found out from Peaches, is yes. Needless to say, when Jonathan was speaking, we were having our own discussion about me and my attitude.
Wow.
So, yeah. Okay, let me explain this to you guys, because you know of me, but you don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the kind of person, I have a very low tolerance for ignorance. I can't stand stupid people. I'm sorry. That is just me. If you come to me and you say something dumb, I'm going to be very angry at you because you should know better. Of a certain age, you should know. You can't live with mommy and daddy or anybody else now because you should know. And I know I have to work on that because I push people away when they're like that because in my mind, someone like that I don't want in my life because that's just too much drama for me. And I'm 54 years old. And I've come to the point in my life where I've been stabbed in my head. I've been molested. I don't need stupidity. So I don't mean to be nasty, but I do come off that way. And on me. Hello?
Hey, we right there with you. We just wanted to hear you out.
Oh, so I don't know what to do about it. I've tried really hard to just swallow it and just let them be themselves. But if I loan you or give you a cell phone, just an example, and the person who this happened to is not even online, so they ain't gotta worry about that. If I give you a cell phone and you put it in your jacket pocket and you leave it in there, and then you go to someone's house to help them and you put your jacket upstairs and you come back and you don't realize it's not there from that Friday until that Sunday, my mind is, you didn't need a phone, apparently, because you didn't even care about it. My phone goes with me everywhere. I know where my phone lives when I'm not even with it. Okay? So my thing, when I spoke to the person about it, I said, that's $1,000 phone. And they were like, well, I don't really care about cell phones that much anyway. So when I offered you a line on my phone account, and you said, oh, this is great, I can use this. I can start using this Obama phone. And I gave you this beautiful Samsung phone. And I said, well, how come you didn't know I was looking from Friday to Sunday? Because I'm not about that kind of stuff. Had you told me that in the beginning, I would not have given you an expensive phone. It's all right, I got my other phone. Now, see, this is where I want to just throw you off a bridge. Because, see, now, that was stupid. Am I wrong?
Well, here's the thing. There's no one rule that is applicable to every situation, and you have to deal with everything on a case-by-case basis. However, the question one would ask is, how do you feel when you're angry? Now, that sounds like a silly question because the answer's in it, you're angry. But how does it make you feel if you're not using the word angry? Is it safe to say you don't feel good when you're angry?
It's very safe to say that.
And it's very safe to say that you don't take a lot of, it's not fun for you. You don't look forward to being angry.
No.
Right.
I don't.
So what happens is, as crazy as this sounds, for you have to devise a plan and a strategy how to keep yourself from being in a place and space that's not fun for you, which is to be angry. And as not wrong as you would be to be frustrated about that who's on first type situation,
Okay. Exactly.
you have to find a way to deal with that, because the one thing about what people should know, it's based upon your understanding of what you perceive they should know. And we don't understand that what is common sense for you may be uncommon sense for someone else. So what we have to then do is look at ourselves and say, how can we find a way to be understanding so we don't find ourselves in a place and space that makes us angry and frustrated? And as difficult as it is, the dialogue that you use, because sometimes to be straightforward with certain people, it jolts them and it wakes them up and they can receive what you said and all of its bluntness. But again, no, not one rule is applicable to every situation, and you've got to be able to measure who it is that you're dealing with, as one would need to be able to measure who they're dealing with in you. So when we look to be understanding of others, part of the understanding is to understand that people don't get everything that you get, and they may come at you sideways. And how can you frame the conversation so you can, and at the same time not run them off? Because as stupid as it may seem, how many times have we said to ourselves, that was some stupid shit I just did?
All the time, every day.
So if we can find ourselves in a position where we have done stupid things, then why would we expect someone else not to be in a position with us who does stupid things, and yet we find a way to forgive ourselves? So if we can find a way to forgive ourselves for the stupidity and kind of want someone to overlook it because it's us, you know I ain't stupid, well then we now have to muster up the same type of intellect, the same type of spirituality, the same type of forgiveness and understanding when we're dealing with other people.
But you know what, Daddy?
You know what? I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead, baby.
Oh, I was going to say, this is why I have been going through withdrawals, because I haven't been able to speak to you guys in 6 weeks, and that shit's not fun. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need my own private sessions. I will pay for my private auntie and uncle sessions. I don't care, because I need them. You guys always bring me back around, especially you, Grandpa.
Yes.
You always bring me. I tell you, he's like that grandpa on a rocking chair.
I ain't messing with you. I done went from uncle to grandpa, but I receive what you're saying, though. I receive.
Yeah, no. When I say that, I mean that in all kindness.
You know, we know it.
You're the grandpa that I never had, and the uncle that I've never had. And I've had 10 uncles, and I wasn't close to any of them. You are the only uncle alive. You and Tony Rose and John Blasingame and Bob Sumner are the only 4 uncles that I have that I consider, and none of us are blood. None of us are blood, but we are village.
Yes.
And we need this. Everyone online right now is shaking their head yes, unbeknownst to you, because we need this. This is the therapy that keeps us going strong as a people.
Yes.
Because you bring us back around when we lose our way. And I'm going to, from now on, think about that person and think about the good things. This person has a wonderful heart, wonderful spirit. Just a little bit on the, he's like, 5 cards short of a deck. But, and I have to realize I'm 5 cards short of a deck at times.
Yes.
I have to understand, like you said, I'm the same way. So I have to bring myself back around and humble myself to understanding that I do stupid stuff too. And I have to allow them to do theirs. Angry.
You know what one of my biggest fears were, Israel? And I dealt with, I didn't like looking stupid. I didn't like feeling like somebody had gotten over. Because I felt like, oh my God, I'm the clown and I look stupid. And if I didn't know something, I wasn't too willing to say it out loud because I didn't want to look stupid. And through my conversations with Sid, it took me out of that space of because that's why my defenses were going, because you're trying to make me look stupid. And it's like, no, mama, ain't nobody trying to make you look stupid. Folks trying to understand, or it might have been a misunderstanding, but because that was such my insecurity, Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, baby, when I tell you, sometimes I would look at him like I was a little girl, like, you trying to make me look stupid. And he would be like, well, how? And I couldn't explain it. But because I didn't understand it, I automatically took it to, you trying to make me look stupid. And then I automatically got defensive, and then I automatically took my attitude somewhere different. So I understand when you said about the phone, you trying to make me look stupid. It just clicked to me right then to say, bitch, that ain't had nothing to do with you. But I can't see it when it's me.
Right. Right.
Oh, this is, yeah.
God, you know what? I don't know what sparked this conversation this week, but you have touched many lives, both of you, because this is needed.
We appreciate you.
We love you, honey, and hug Peaches for us.
I love you guys. I love Auntie Robin and Auntie Tommy T. I love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, my baby. Come on, y'all. This is why, in my humble opinion, it's necessary. It is necessary. And when people say, well, come on, Daddy. Hey, you on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you calling from?
This is Rashawn Burton.
Hey, Rashawn.
Hey, Rashawn.
Hey, Mo. First of all, big fan. This is a really good topic because it's something that's actually been on my heart for a couple weeks now. And whenever I have this conversation with people, the questions that pop most into my head is, how do people react when you have a bad attitude, and how often do you have a negative attitude? And what makes me think that is, if you're a person who constantly has a negative attitude, like me, I can honestly say 6 months ago, I was that nigga. That when they saw me, they said, we're going to keep his ass over there. And it wasn't until I became happier, more at peace, that people started to realize, damn, like he's really a nice person now. And when I was having my negative days, because I am human and I will have them, when I would have those negative days, that's when people would come to me and say, Rashawn, what's wrong? Because it was no longer a normalcy for them. It was no longer, okay, he's always this way all the time, so we can just leave him over there because it's a pattern. But when I switched it up and when I had my negative days, that's when people really began to react to me. And yes. I think that what Sid was saying to the caller earlier, and by the way, hey Sid.
How you doing? How you doing?
What he was saying to the caller earlier was, how do you feel when you're angry? And obviously he said the answer's in it, but you feel alone. You feel like you want to say something to somebody, but you don't know how. You want to say something to somebody, but you don't want to look stupid.
Yes.
You almost don't want to be made a fool of. And that's how I felt personally. There were so many times where I was angry, I was pissed off, having a negative-ass day, where I really wanted to talk to somebody, and the outlet was there, but I didn't take it because I would feel like a wuss. And there's, there's so much within that.
Monique had a shirt on earlier that says,
I have it on, Daddy.
Well, the shirt that she has on, it says, strong is the new beautiful. And what I would add to that is, vulnerability is the new strong.
Yeah.
Because when you learn to accept your vulnerabilities, you've learned to accept strength, because you've now let go of the ego, which allows us to put on this farce and armor of being strong, when in actuality, the moment we admit to being human, the moment we admit to being flawed, the moment we admit to not knowing, is the moment we begin to know.
Yeah, definitely.
Because now the things that you didn't want to say because you felt you would look stupid, Now, what you didn't know was what someone else didn't know, and now y'all sitting there learning together. But most importantly, people are not threatened by individuals who admit to their flaws. They only feel a threat by those who come across as if they're superior, and you don't see that chink in their armor. You're the thing that, and I would ask you, what the deciding factor? If you said it, I must have missed it. But what was the thing in your life that made you change from 6 months ago?
It was when I would have to say I have a best friend of 10 years, and I'm 18 years old. And, you know, within this generation that I'm in, friendships don't last that long.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a friendship of 10 years, and all these years, he has been dealing with my shit, my negative attitude and everything. But I was starting to notice a breakdown. And it was becoming a job to him to be my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So the deciding factor for me was I can't kill a 10-year friendship because of my negative attitude that shouldn't even be there in the first place. So the deciding factor for me was, well, I have to save a 10-year friendship now, and I can't do that with the attitude that I have now. And it's not even just about getting it back, it's about sustaining it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do that with the attitude that I had. So that was definitely the deciding factor for me.
And here's the thing: as an 8, you are wise beyond your years and courageous beyond your years, because there are many people that are twice and 3 times your age that would not take that into consideration to maintain the relationship, because they're more comfortable with holding on to that ego than they are the friendship that they had for 10 plus years. And because you said you were willing to drop your ego to hold on to your friendship, we can expect that friendship to continue on for another 18 plus years, so that when you're 36 and that's still your partner,
Mm-hmm.
it's because of that pivotal moment. And not only did they help you to change to maintain that relationship, they've also changed to help you maintain and establish other relationships, because that tool that you learned in that one moment, if you allow it, it's going to help you in everyone that you encounter. And that's why you're taking the time out of your life right now. You could be doing anything else, but instead you're taking the time to educate and heal yourself. And we oftentimes have people thank us because they'll say, you've changed us and this, that, and the other. And what I would say is, information, the change is coming from you, because you decided to take information and apply it to your life in a way that benefited you most, because our one statement is not going to apply to everyone in the same way. And you did the work and are doing the work to make yourself better. And through the conversation that you just had with us, you're helping other people too. Mm-hmm. And we appreciate you for that.
We love you, baby.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, sugar. You know, just hearing the callers. We're going to hear this one. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you're calling from?
This is Raven. I'm calling from Jersey. How are you guys doing?
We good, baby. Talk to us.
Well, I got to start from the beginning. And this is on subject. It may start like it's off subject, but it is. So, I was an overweight kid like all of my life. And as an adult, and got into some relationships where I was hurt and feelings got hurt, fell in love, got rejected. And now, even as an adult at 38, I find myself that I push people away, especially men, in relationships because of fear of rejection. And my attitude will change. completely different person so that I can reject them first. So, and it's been hard. It's been really hard, and I've ruined a lot of relationships because of my attitude. And because of, I still, even though I've lost the weight, I still see myself as the big girl, and I still feel like they're going to hurt me. So I change my attitude to something they don't like to push them away. And I don't even know how to change that within myself.
Well, believe it or not, you do.
Yes.
Because the first step in making a change is identifying the problem. When one is sick, the first thing the doctors have to do is bring you in to make a diagnosis of what the trouble is. Once you identify what the trouble is, you now have to put in the work and do the necessary steps in order to overcome what the problem is. So, as simple as this is about to sound, is as difficult as it is to do. And that is, since you've identified the work to diffuse that problem, and it starts by dropping your ego and holding on to the good folks that you say that you may be encountering, because you got to ask yourself, all right, you let them go. But in you letting them go first, you let yourself down second. Because you've had the right to, you can walk around with your belt held high and your head held high. Yeah, I ain't never been dumped. But you've never taken the time out to be loved and or to invest your love in someone. And in order to experience the fruits and the labor of love, you must allow yourself to be vulnerable. There's an old saying, you cannot plant the seed the same day and expect to eat the fruit of the seed that you planted. So the time and the labor of love that you invest into a person, they invest in you, is not going to necessarily going to reap your harvest, if you will, on that same day. It's going to take time. If you listen to the conversations that Monique and we have, it's in reference to time. It's a tribulations. But the one thing that remains constant is when you know you have someone that's good and you know that you have someone that loves you, you don't let that go when the times get hard, because the energy and the forces that are invisible around you, and I'm not talking about Satan, I ain't talking about demons, I'm talking about just the yin and yang of life. It's designed to pull you apart from one another. So you have to do things that are counterintuitive in order to bring you closer together when you understand you are about one another. And just something as simple as being open and honest and sharing with that person that this is my challenge. So I don't want you to think that when I act this way that I really don't want to be with you, because I really want to be with you. So
Right.
please don't give up on me. Well, when they don't give up on you, then that's when you've got to drop the ego and say, I'm not going to give up on myself, and say, I don't need your help. Almost like on one day you admit that you have a problem, but when they bring it up to you on another day, it's as if that problem doesn't exist and you never made mention to it. Because now you stepping into the realm. What's really going on? You told me not to give up on you, right? Well, you can give up on me if you want to. I mean, I ain't twisting y'all. No. Because now you asking them to do some uncommon shit. Because now you breaking your word. Now you breaking your trust. And then you think they gave up on you, but you gave up on them and you gave up on yourself. So when you are willing to receive what you are asking for, when they give it to you, then you are ready to have a solid relationship that stands the test of time.
Now, sis, I was you.
Thank you.
I I was you. I was that woman that you're not going to drop me off first. I'm not going to let you do that. So I will sabotage this. I will intentionally fuck it up because I won't allow you to say you let me go until I had to have that conversation with my best friend. And I had to say, listen, I can fuck some shit up. I can take something and make it so much bigger than it is. I had to tell my friend who I really was, though he knew, but I had to say, when I please bring me back. Now, I done gone to that place in the last 13 years. Baby, I done gone there. But what he did was kept his word, even when it was uncomfortable, even when everything in me wanted to say, who in the fuck are you talking to? But I knew he wasn't saying nothing but the truth.
Amen.
So when you get that man, when you get that person, and you say, let me tell you who I am. Because oftentimes we as black women, women period, we walk around with this chip on our shoulders like, you can't tell me shit. Especially if we make a little bit of money. Especially if we have a small position or title. But when you get that person and you say, let me tell you who I am, go to those moments when he got to say, let me tell you who you are. Go to those moments and remember those moments because I have to go to those moments. When I start going to the left and my husband got to say, hey, let me remind you of what you told me to remind you of. I got to get my ego out the way. That shit don't happen overnight, mama. But if you keep working at it, it does work.
We appreciate you calling in.
We love you, baby.
Thank you. Love you too.
All right, sweetness.
It's not about just telling a person when they're not correct that they're not correct. It's also part of it is when they've done something that is correct and you see them making a conscious effort, you got to also let them know that too, because oftentimes we only have an issue when they're not doing right, but we've got to compliment them just as vehemently when they do the right thing as we have to ridicule or speak to the situation when they're acting out of character.
And we also have to remember the compliments that you did get. You've got to remember when someone is saying, hey, you fucked that up. And not be so quick to say, well, remember when you told me I fucked it up, but say, well, wait a minute. If you saying that to me, it's only because you telling me the real shit. Because you told me when I kicked it out the park. You told me when I did a great job. You told me you was proud of me. But now you saying, listen, we got to work on this. Well, all of that shit gets erased and we get stuck on, oh, that's what we're going to do. So, y'all, we talking about it and we appreciate the real honest conversation. Hey, you're on with Monique and Sydney. Who's this and where you calling from?
Yeah, this is the Lord calling from Philadelphia, PA.
Hey, the Lord.
You ain't gonna call in sounding like you a goddamn white. You ain't gonna sound that cool calling in here like that, man. Come on.
Oh, y'all crazy, man. How y'all doing, man?
Wonderful, brother. How you doing?
Doing good, man. I just wanted to chime in on the message of today, man. I actually wanted to get through on the last one a couple of weeks ago. You were talking about spirituality and Christianity. I didn't get through, but in regard to pushing people away, all right, I think that there is situations where at times you may push people away, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And you may feel like that everything is against you, like you're the problem. I've come to find out that in some instances, you may just be the anomaly, and maybe the situation is the problem. Maybe it's the people around you is the problem. And I'm going to elaborate. I grew up in the South, so basically, growing up in the South, it's very traditional. People are quick to impose their beliefs on you, that you have to live up to this is what you need to be. And if you don't, some kind of way you're either wrong or you're morally incorrect, spiritually with God, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What I've had to learn is becoming my own individual and breaking away from that and, educating myself, etc., is that sometimes it's not you that may be the problem. Sometimes people are stuck in traditions and ways of thinking that don't fit who you are anymore. And although people around you, they can't see your vision or where you are, they may feel like, you're wrong. Things you're doing is incorrect. Why are you saying this? How come you're not freely giving us money anymore when we calling you and asking for it? Things of this nature. But they don't realize that you had to change in order to keep being their victim, because crabs in a barrel stay in a barrel, and sometimes you're not the problem. You just may be the anomaly. And I think it's important to put that out there as well. I've heard other callers call in. I'm not discrediting anyone's experience. Some people are very negative. Some people have a low vibrating energy about them, and they're infectious wherever they go. It's a blessing if they know that. They can try to change it. Most people don't know it. And they become a problem to those of us who have identified this demon within ourselves and now have worked to try to change it. We don't want to be bothered with that either.
You know what?
Those people, you know what I mean? Because those people have a group think about them. They're still that way. They will make you think you're the problem when really you're not. God may just have refined your vision to see something different.
And for us, that's why we have these conversations, because what you spoke of epitomizes the reason why we say there's no one rule that applies to every situation. The person that has to do the real work is the person that is involved in the situation. And through your self-analysis, you came to find a different set of circumstances than the prior individuals that called in. And you too are helping those who are in the same situation as you, because you're absolutely right. The problem may not be you. You may be the anomaly. And we can appreciate what you're saying because Monique seems to be an anomaly in Hollywood. Okay? So we relate 110% where you're speaking up about things that most people, just because they don't speak up, because traditionally it is you sealing your fate if you argue against the machine or you stand against the machine.
And even on the micro level, even if you argue against the elder of the household, you know what I mean? Lord forbid if you disagree with mom, dad, aunt, uncle, etc. Oh, now you're disrespectful. Now you're a wayward person. Now you're full of the devil. Do you see what I'm saying?
No doubt.
In actuality, there's nothing wrong with you having a self-identity, a self-way of thinking, even if it goes against the status quo.
No doubt about it. And just like with anything, one of the first rules that they teach you in sales is that you can say anything that you need to say. It's just the way in which you say it. And when you have to challenge, if you will, that elder, if you are able to do it in the way that poses questions, sometimes they can get it. Now, sometimes because they stuck in their way and they have not had the openness, the way the planets are configured has a lot to do with the energy that is happening in the world in which we live in. Most people can start to feel that there's a tide that's changing, where the people who have been constantly being taken advantage of and their overseers, you're starting to see a level of collapse, and that there's a turning of the tide. Well, this doesn't change unless you have thinkers like yourself that say, I must question things that don't make sense, even though those same things have been said so long that everyone's convinced that they are true.
Right. I call it a rise in consciousness is what I call it, the evolutionary shift of thought, but that's like a different conversation.
But you're right on point.
Yes, man. As a black male, I feel like it's even that much harder. You spoke of business. Even in business, people a certain way, they will not like you just because of that alone. It may not have anything to do with your qualifications, your job ability, but if you don't even fit into the cultural personality or norm of that environment, you may not even be liked for that. Getting back to the topic. So I just wanted to reiterate that sometimes your dislike from others may not have nothing to do with something that you're doing negatively.
Yes.
It may have everything to do with something you're doing correctly. Just maybe the anomaly.
But also know this, young Barry White. Also know this. Sometimes those people who seem like they don't like you, unbeknownst to you, they can't help but admire you. So know that.
We love you,
appreciate
baby.
you, brother.
You know, this has been one of the shows that it takes me by surprise from the callers. Just in people, they ain't gonna let me say the damn thing. Hey, you on with Monique and Sydney? Who's this and where you call?
Hey, Sister Mo, how are you, baby?
Wonderful, honey. How you doing?
I'm fine. This is Crystal. I'm calling from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Talk to us, Crystal from New Orleans.
Yeah, baby.
Hey, baby.
All right now, Sydney. I just wanted to, I'm loving the conversation. This is my first time calling, and I've loved all of your shows that I've listened to.
Thank you, baby.
I just want to, Mo, with respect to you, may I have permission to compliment my brother, Sidney?
My sweet sister, the floor is yours, baby.
Brother Sidney,
Yes, ma'am.
I thank the Most High God for you being the man that my sister Monique needed. And thank you so much for nurturing her in the way and manner in which you have, so lovingly. And I just had to say that to you. And Sister Monique, thank you for being that anomaly. I really appreciate everything that you've done, everything that you've stood for. I've always followed you, and I just love Monique.
Baby, thank you.
You're welcome. And the callers, the last two callers, I noticed that I want to stay on subject. The last two callers hit things so on point with regards to where I was in thought regarding your attitude, pushing people away. And the last brother that just called, Mr. Barry White.
That's right. Somebody need to give him a contract.
He hit things so on the nose, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I cannot be off track in my thoughts. I am that girl that has always been told, you always going against the grain. Why you can't just go ahead and just follow what it is that needs to be followed? And I always stood up for the underdog. Mm-hmm. I didn't care what they looked like, sound like. It was just that underdog. I'm like, no, and I just stood for what was right. That's just who I've been. That's just how I was created, and I will not apologize for that. Mm-hmm. On a personal note, I've had people come into my life, and because I would not allow them to misuse me, I was being thrown away, given up on. Feeling that has to be one of the most harsh feelings a person could ever feel, to be thrown away. You're of no use because I did not fit their objective, or I would not conform to their program. And I thought about it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? And it wasn't so much what was wrong with me. It was what was not right with the world. Mm. Mm-hmm. And as I came to grips with that, it just made me that much stronger, and it gave me that much more strength to stand on truth, in righteousness. And I've had people around me that have said things about me, and I would take it to heart because I'm like, these are people that love me. Clearly, they're telling me something about myself that I'm not necessarily paying attention to. And as I paid attention to it and I went into that quiet space and I reflected on their words, unfortunately, it was more about them and their, as my brother Sidney just said, their admiration for me, but they just could not admire. In certain places that I've gone, you have to have a certain status in order for people to take anything that you have of value to say. And I've learned that, and it saddens me that we're that way. And I don't want to sound like I'm rambling. I just feel this topic, and it just so happened to go in this direction. But it was a very hurtful experience to have people just throw me away because I did not conform or did not meet their objective, or they felt that I was just not whatever it was that they wanted me to be. And I said, no, I'm not going to be who you want me to be. I'm going to be who I was created to be.
Come on now.
There it is. We appreciate you.
We
man.
love you, sis. Keep standing, keep pushing, keep going.
Thank you.
We love you, baby.
I love you back.
Oh, you know, I want to address something that I've been wanting to address the show, but the lines were hot today, and she just said something that is going to drive it home. And she said it's unfortunate that if people don't think you have something, you right?
Right.
And since we've been on today, there's been someone in the rooms, and I think their name was Rufus. And they kept saying, what has Sidney accomplished that he could tell us anything? And before I could say anything, one thing I love about the folks that come forward with us, baby, they're going to dig in that ass. They're going. But I want to address Rufus, if that is your name. For years, Rufus, I've had some challenges. I've had some mental challenges, physical challenges. I've had some challenges. And my husband's been the only one that was able to break through my ego, that wall of can't nobody tell me nothing, that I got this down, I know what I'm doing. My mother couldn't break through it. My father couldn't break through it. None of my siblings. And I'm the youngest one in my family. And what I had become was the fix-it person. So wasn't nobody going to check me because I could fix everything. But then this man right here was having conversations with me that I had never heard before put that way. And it was allowing me to see life differently. So I said to him, I said, Daddy, I know I'm not unique. And you have a way of saying it that allows me to get it without judgment, very gentle and full of love. And I would appreciate if the world got a chance to hear you. And his words to me was, Mama, that's not what I do. And I said to him, it's going to happen. Because when people say to me, Monique, you're different. Monique, what's going on? It's right here. And I wanted to be in the position to say, let me share what's been given to me. Not feed y'all no bullshit, Rufus, and I want you to hear me. Because there's been people that's been shared on stages and saying, oh, listen to this person, or listen to that person, and they don't even know the person they're telling you to listen to just because they sold a lot of books. You're supposed to listen, but you have no idea who the person is. So the reason why I asked my husband to do this with me, because his conversations were able to save my life. His conversations were those conversations that was able to make me say, let me get my health in order. Those were the conversations that allowed me to say, let me be courageous and take some stands that. So I want you to understand, when you ask about his accomplishments, the woman that you're looking at, Rufus, he's helped save my life. And I just want to share that.
And if I may, part of our problem in the world that we live in is we're focused on what we construe as someone's accomplishments. And sometimes you can miss what is, for lack of a better word, a miracle that's being spoken into your ear. But because that man may be homeless, you don't take heed to the advice that he's giving you, but you don't understand that a homeless person, they're one of the greatest or some of the greatest observers of humanity, because they get a chance on a regular basis to be ignored and see the world pass before them. And because they don't have a fancy home, they don't have a car, they have a mobile address, we deem them to be not relevant enough to look at them accomplishing enough insight to be able to tell you anything. And what happens is, when you understand that we can learn from a child, we can learn from animals, because the true sense of being knowledgeable, always stay a student, even when you may be teaching. So there's a level of offense I don't take to you asking that question, because I understand why you would, based upon the world that we live in today. My lovely wife, she's finding understanding so she can remove her verbal foot out of your buttocks, and chooses not to. But we appreciate you taking the time to stay with us the whole time, because for as much as you beg the question, what has he accomplished? You stayed the whole way. So we accomplished somehow to keep old Rufus the doubter enthralled enough to stay with us, and we appreciate your presence.
Because Rufus, you know I got some words for you, but because of the conversations that he been having with me, I got to come with love, Rufus. But had I not been having them conversations, I'd have said, get your dumb ass. But because of the conversations, it allows me not to do that. Now, Daddy, something I just wrote in the room that was really cute. They said, okay, are you and Sis starting to look alike? Are we, Daddy? They said we're starting to resemble. Do you think?
Perhaps. You know how it is. You start being with a person enough. I mean, listen, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll probably start looking like her.
I love it. Well, listen, my babies. That's the show. And we want to thank y'all, because y'all could have been doing anything else. But y'all decided, I'm going to give my time right now, my time, my ear, my heart to the show. For every caller that called in, thank you, babies. For the ones that didn't get through, thanks for trying. And we're going to be here.
Dorothy said, Monique got more curves.
Yes, I do, Miss Dorothy.
I ain't going to fight you on that one.
Don't do it. So we appreciate y'all, my babies. And, just please tell a friend and tell another friend. Because when you hear these young brothers and sisters calling in, saying it's making a difference. It's making a difference. So,
take us on.
I'm going to do it, Daddy. Like my daddy says, the mind is like a parachute.
It is no good unless it's open.
We love y'all.
For free.
Mwah.